F. The friends. One day, two loving friends sat on a hill that they could not leave without leaving the other. But they could hear the outside world. They loved each other with their hearts, but they could hear the outside world, and this intrigued them. One day, his friend cut out his heart and said, "Here, so that I may leave you and be with you and that I may return to you, never having left." His friend said, "Promise you will return and that you love me." The friend replied, "I promise, I love you." And so, the friend cut out his heart, and left. In the world, that friend heard and listened, thought and spoke, and laughed and cried. But smiled and understood, that the convincing world could never replace his good, just heart. When the friend returned, he cried out, "I have returned, I know what matters most," but only silence echoed back. He walked and searched and found his heart, alongside another heart on the hill with a note reading, "Loving friend, I could not wait in agony. So, I cut out my heart in search of you, to never leave you, and to find you in this world. I promise I will return, I love you." And so the friend, loving and having promised to return, waited. Days, weeks, and years went by and his friend did not return. Loving his friend, and knowing the outside world, he decided to search for his friend, leaving behind the hearts and note on the hill. Eventually, his friend returned, crying, "I have returned, I know what matters most," but only found what was left behind. The friend cried in despair, for to him, his friend never returned. Broken promise filled his heart and trampled his love. He felt sadness, shame, and embarrassment. He deserted the hearts, note, and hill for the outside world, never to return. Eventually, when his friend, unable to find him in the outside world, returned and rejoined the hearts and note where he had left them. Never knowing his friend had returned, he would sit in eternity. For he promised his friend he would return and kept it. And for he promised his love to his friend, and kept it. He would sit in eternity, for he came to know what matters most.